Beat here, we're back again. So today I'll be replicating the Fire Mage 3 pull. You definitely want movement speed to boot enchant or the meta gem to move a little faster. And I'm using a mix of Sunwell, BT, Brutal, and ZA healing gear mostly. Now as far as talents, you'll definitely want Glyph of Monsoon. I run Insect Swarm because it's so mana efficient, I like that damage. And a minor dash clip just to reduce the cooldown. The points I'm picking up are anything that increases my instant damage or my dot damage, since we're going to be moving most of the time. I also grab Alchemy Frenzy just because you will take some hits, and so the mana restore is nice. I wouldn't fault anyone if they wanted to put those 3 points in Brambles for treant damage. That's definitely a valid option. Now, as far as my extra 10 points, I put those in the Resto tree for this video. As you level, you'll pick up some really good talents like Omen of Clarity and some more mana regen that'll make things go a lot smoother and faster. Another valid option is to actually go into Feral, because then you can get the movement speed in cat form once you're level 71 and 72, and that really opens up safe play because anytime you get in trouble, you can just hit cat form and create some distance on the mobs. Alright, so this is my first full complete clear, so it definitely has some mistakes and there's some room for improvement. But I like showing this run because it kind of gives you an idea of what to do when maybe everything doesn't go your way. Now I am using Zanza. I think you do have to have it for this run, unfortunately, to increase your movement speed. So we're going to go ahead and entangle roots to the left, cyclone the right, get past these first mobs. Go ahead and refresh my cyclone and then pull out these treants to pull. The key is to pause a second, and then of course you send them back to attack the cloned mob, and then they'll all be behind you, and you don't even have to take damage. I go ahead and pop Starfall here so I can get some damage, and I want that cooldown to be recharging while I'm basically finishing to gather up the mobs. Now I can go ahead and start spamming my Insect Swarm at this point. It doesn't do a ton of damage, but it's really mana efficient. You can really spam it and it doesn't seem to affect your mana bar much. Yeah, you can definitely take some intentional hits if you want in order to try to get an Alchemy Frenzy proc, but that's really not necessary. And you got to be careful because you can get dazed. It always helps if you try to jump and face them up. It'll decrease the likelihood of getting dazed. I'll also point out if you've never done this pull with Zanza, it can mess your timing up a little bit because sometimes you'll reach a pack at the forge before you're ready to be there. So keep an eye on your Typhoon cooldown and make sure you don't do anything strange, like run into a group of mobs without your Typhoon ready. At this point, I'm just doing my Insect Swarm spam, getting all those dots rolling. You can see there I threw out a Moonfire. If you come across a mob that has higher health than all the others as you're tabbing through them, I go ahead and hit them with a Moonfire just to try to balance them out so they're staying a little closer together. Of course, hitting Starfall and cooldown when it's ready. You can also sync that with a Trinket and get a little more damage out if you have an on-you spell damage Trinket. And of course, as your mana gets low, you're just going to use your Innervate. And you can also hit a mana pot. So. Alright, so as we approach the end of the clear, you want to definitely save your cooldowns because you're going to need them for the next pull. So don't use a major cooldown unless you have to right here towards the end. That was a 4-minute 1-second clear of the first room. I think my best is 3 minutes 49 seconds, so that's an okay clear. And you definitely probably want to loot the mobs if you're not going for, if you're not really trying to move through there, because they do drop a lot of silver, gold, cloth, and some other valuable stuff. Just practicing, I've gotten a lot of blues too. Okay, so for this next pull, we're going to try to get most of this room. We won't hit everything. One thing to be aware of is there's a Drake landing in the middle of the floor. You want to watch out for that and make sure you're not standing right where he's landing as you're stealthing in, and because if you get caught, things might go bad for you. Okay, so I'm going to stand here kind of right on that cross where the tiles intersect, and that'll allow me to, I can unstealth and don't have to worry about pulling anything. But all we're going to do is another treant pull. I'll pop out the treants. I'm going to send them to attack that proto drake to the side, send them to attack the proto drakes near the door, and then I'm going to start moving. Now I made a really bad mistake there, and the mistake is that I body pulled that proto drake, so he's already on top of me. I recovered from that by using a speed pot. You definitely want to stay a little further away so that whenever you do pull them, you're closer to max range. And you don't really have to worry about getting everything. You want to probably get at least half the room, but we're going to do one more pull later, so if we miss anything, we can just come back and get it later. Now we're going to finish running our wide circle. I even like to run a little wider on this one than I do with the first pull. And I'm just going to use as much instant cast damage as I can. I'm trying to put Insect Swarm, I'm trying to hit them with Moonfire. You really want to get these drakes low because they do seem to be slightly faster than you, even with the Zanza. So you're kind of on a timer to get these guys down. Yes, you can shift in and out of cat form and you'll keep your dash buff, so um, feel free to go to Moonkin, re-up your dots, and then back to cat form to run faster if you'd like. It also doesn't hurt just to use the whole dash if you need to. So yeah, these proto drakes, once their health starts getting really low, like most of the mobs in the game, they're going to slow down a little bit, which is good. So you don't necessarily have to kill them right away, but you at least want to get them to that sub 20%. Alrighty, so now I'm just cleaning up these last few mobs. Definitely watch out for that throw. I did die once on my first run because I kind of underestimated how much damage that could do once it starts hitting you over and over. So on the body pull and the Drake, I did lose my potion cooldown, and so I had to use the speed pot instead of a mana potion. So if I was able to use a mana potion, I would have had more mana to play with, and I definitely could have shaved some time off that run. So these 2 or 3 that I missed, I'm just going to Moonfire spam those on the way back. So like I said, you don't have to worry about making sure you get every single mob. Just try to get most of them. Now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and stealth past this pack. I think if you're level 70 like I am, you can pull them if you just try to walk past. So this is interesting. As I mentioned, this is my first run, so I wanted to pre-pot a speed potion just to get out of here quicker. And it turned out being a really bad move because I created so much distance that I'll cause a problem for myself. I'm basically going to get cut off later in the video, but we'll see that. So I'll go ahead and Moonfire spam that guy. Hit those with a Typhoon. Now for these drakes, you want to do the right thing and pull them at max range so that you're as far away from them as possible. And that way it'll take them more time to catch up to you. Go ahead and pop the tree in, start getting some damage out. Trinket, Starfall, throwing out the instant typhoons. Want to get as much damage as possible. Never forget you're on the timer. Now I do have a lot of, this is more resto gear than damage gear, which is, it's not the worst, but if you do have proper gear, you might be able to take them down a little faster, which helps. Now this is where those mobs are coming in, some casters. So go ahead and, in order to create some distance, I'm just going to use dash and run past them. And that's because I used that speed pod at the very beginning. I think they were just so far away that they didn't catch up. So. Okay, at this point, they're almost on me again. I don't have dash. I used it to get past those mobs that cut me off. So I paid for that mistake with another speed potion, but that's okay. That's why I have them. And now the proto drakes are getting pretty low, so I think we'll start to see them slow down here soon. And I'll mix in a little bit of damage onto these other mobs. Yeah, so there's these rune shielder mobs. You definitely don't want to cast too much whenever they have that shield up, because it'll be wasted damage. So keep an eye out for that. Alright, and that concludes the run. Thank you for watching. If you have any ideas for how to improve it or make things faster, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. This is a pretty good experience, close to 900,000 per hour, maybe a little less if you were stopping to loot everything and repairing or selling every once in a while, but definitely worth it if you can get it down. All right, I wanted to take a few minutes to discuss what to do if you lose your Swiftness of Zanza potion. It's very easy to make a mistake and lose it, or the server could lag, especially during the opening weeks, or PvP could happen on a PvP server while you're at a loading screen. There's a lot of reasons you might lose it, but you can still do smaller pulls of the proto drakes, simply at a slight reduction in the amount of experience you're going to get. All right, so in order to demonstrate, I'm going to pull these 3 proto drakes and kill them without a Zanza speed potion. Now this is pretty tricky. I would definitely recommend starting with 1 drake and then try to move on to killing 2 or 3. The most important thing, as you saw, is we want to be max range. We're going to pull and then we have to get moving. And we want to try to get as much distance as possible, and we really have to spam those dots. You want to try to keep Moonfire and Insect Swarm up on all 3 mobs, or however many you're pulling. And then if you have free GCDs, you want to be spamming Moonfire or hitting Typhoon. You basically never want to be not doing damage. I went ahead and pull my trinket and starfire out. I'm getting a lot of good damage. If you didn't notice, I did speed pot as I was coming down the steps as the drakes got close to me. And I can see I'm just doing some moonfire jumps. I go ahead and pop an early innervate. In fact, it was probably a touch too early, but that's okay. It doesn't look like my mana bar overcapped. There, I pull out my dash just to create a little more distance. And these drakes are starting to die, but I really need a little bit more damage on them because once they drop below 20%, I know that they're going to slow down and then I'm going to be able to take them. But I'm really running out of time here. This is very close. I'm trying to get those dots back up. I know they're closing in on me, and they're just about at that threshold where they're going to slow down. There, I took a knife. Those knives do hurt, but the most important thing you can do is keep your distance and keep moving, and you shouldn't get hit too many times with knives. Thankfully, the proto drakes did drop just slow enough so that I could escape them. And so now I'm just going to finish up and get some of this, get some of these dots up on these last remaining mobs. Okay, that's basically how you do the pool without Zanzas. As I mentioned, 3 is pretty tough. Definitely stick to 1 or 2 the first few times you're doing it. In fact, you actually don't even need any movement speeds to kill 1 Drake. If you have enough gear, you can just pop all your cooldowns and burn a Drake before he gets to you. I've done that many times as well. Thank you very much for making it this far. If you did, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. And also, if you could like or subscribe if you enjoy this content, it'll allow me to make more videos. Thanks.